The more I get to, I'm a skeptic at best, and I don't believe in all the fluff and the numerology and this. I don't. But doing this, sitting down, having conversations with people like yourself, it's amazing you say that. Oh, well, whatever. I don't. Whatever. I still live in that world when it comes to mystics, yogis.
Yeah, prove it to me.
All of that. Yeah.
I'm not going to just buy this.
Yeah. And so, the more I continue to have these conversations with people who have spent copious amount of hours, days, weeks, months, years with Yogi Bhajan, and having these, I don't want to say episodes, but these interactions without being directly having interactions with him, these indirect interactions with Yogi Bhajan, it just makes, and then you saying this as well from the background that you've come from, and sitting down, just I don't care. He's done this to my brother, and within the 60 seconds, completely disarmed.
And everyone always feels like he's just talking right to you. And how do you do that with thousands? And those are back in the days when there were so many people. And I'm like, that was for me. Just that certainty. And I'm usually not a groupie, and I stay away from, I'm not, attracted by that at all. But oh my God, that was just amazing.
And here you are, grouping it up, ready to go to Mexico. Go to Babaji's, ashram. Get told, you better start putting the star on. Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, I'll do it.
So you're done Mexico. You pop over to Los Angeles. Thank you for sharing that story, by the way.
Oh, thank you for asking me. That's
yeah. So okay, so you're hopping over to LA. Let's go.
So there is a little interim on the way. I do spend a year in Massachusetts. The Leverett ashram was in Western Massachusetts. And I knew about it from the days that my mother lived in Millis, and I would visit her. And I thought, I can't do what my mother did. I can't move to the Millis ashram, but I can move to this cute little country ashram in the western part of the state. It's beautiful. And that's where I went. I went to UMass as well, Amherst. So next town over. It's like, it'd be kind of like going home, something familiar. Like I said, I was dumped at the altar. I was kind of heartbroken and feeling lost and blah, blah, blah. And so I spent a year in Massachusetts, and I visited LA for Baisakhi that year.
So I'm sorry. I want to cut back, and we don't need to go deep into it. But you were literally left at the altar.
Yeah, that was another really interesting. And Babaji, another. And Guru Dev Singh was living. He was living in a little house in the back before he was the great healer and everything. He had a terrible illness himself. He almost died, and he was recuperating in this little house. So he was on the compound. So here I am with all these amazing people. I meet this guy. I'm teaching at this school in Mexico City, and I meet this English teacher, who's a chemistry teacher. And, I'm a new Sikh. Remember, I am wearing my turban. I am trying my best. But this guy asked me out, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go out with him, But of course, he was like, he wanted to do the whole Western thing, get high and get laid. That was kind of the whole thing. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, here I am dealing with. And so, we dated and we spent time together, and it was just like eating away at me. Like, here I am living a double life again. I can't do this. It doesn't feel right. I can't go home to the ashram and be, dating this guy this way. And so I tried to break up with him. I said, look, this new lifestyle means so much to me, but it's very fragile at this point. and I'm just living this double life. And he says what every woman wants to hear from a man: I can't lose you. I can't lose you. What do I have to do to keep you? And I said, well, you got to come with me then. You got to do what I'm doing. He said, I'll do anything. So he moves into the ashram. He completely changed. This is an English guy that's been traveling, drifting around the world. He'd been married before that fell apart. He's still smoking a lot of pot. He's just living flowing, but it's really not working for him. You know, you could see so many signs of it. He moves into the ashram, he becomes a different person. Oh my God, just like night and day. Babaji takes us both under his wings. He says, okay, no hanky panky in this ashram. You're in that room, you're in that room. Don't you dare. You go to sadhana every morning. You go to work, you come home, you do this. Here's your karma yoga. He just laid it all out, and you get married. Well, okay, when's as soon as we can get married? Well, solstice. Solstice is coming up. Why don't you plan to get married at solstice? You know, but until then, this is how you're going to live. And he's totally guiding us in that. And I'm so happy. This is kind of what I've always longed for. You know, someone guiding me on the spiritual path, you know, containing me. I mean, I grew up without much of a container. My parents, messy marriage, my traveling here and there, doing this, that. All of a sudden, I'm contained. I'm living to my truth. I'm in love with this guy. We're getting married. We're going to live happily ever after. And, you know, life was perfect. We went to sadhana together. We spent, and my mother never liked any boyfriend I ever had. He charmed the pants off my mother. He did what my mother always said. He said, any man that wants to marry you, he's got to win over the mother first, and then he'll be fine. My mother adored him. Literally, he had her, you know, he was, yes, exactly. And we all did tantric together. And he got a name. Haridas Singh was his name. And I love the way he said it with that British accent. You know, I mean, it's the accent.
Haridas Singh.
No, it wasn't Harry. It was Hari.
Haridas Singh.
But he was just, oh my God, he just became the perfect man. I'm telling you, the perfect man. Life was blissful. And we worked at the same school. I was teaching biology. How I ever managed to get that job, I did. And he was a chemistry teacher. So we took a bus to school together. We worked. We'd stop at this little marketplace, get something to eat. We'd come home. We'd do our meditation. It was just like this beautiful, idyllic life. And we're getting ready to get married. So one day I go to wake him up. Time for sadhana. Because I don't want to go to sadhana. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. I go and do my sadhana. Time to go to work. It's time to go to work. I'm not going to work. What do you mean you're not going to work? I'm not going to work today. Tell them I'm not coming in. I said, I'm not going to tell them you're not coming. You tell them. You call them and tell them you're not coming. I'm not going to do that for you. What's going on? I mean, it was just so confusing. I get on the bus. I go to work alone going, what the hell is going on? Why? This the night before, he'd been sitting with Babaji and talking about our wedding plans and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, it's like a different person. So I call him on my break. And he says, I'm leaving. What do you mean leaving? Leaving what? Leaving the ashram? No, I'm leaving Mexico. I'm going back to England. No, I'm at work. I can't leave until the end of the day. Please don't go. Can you at least wait until I get home so we can talk? I don't know what's going on, but, you know, I begged him. And what do you think happened? I got home and he was gone. I never saw him again. And he sent me a note. I forget how much after that. And he said something like, you know, I never could live that way, you know. Find yourself one of those long-haired, bearded guys, you know. You need the, you know, and it's not me. It's not me. And by the way, good luck getting out of smoggy Mexico City. Because we were like at that point, I love Mexico City, but then it was the most polluted city in the world. You know, they did a whole bunch of things to clean it up after that. But it was so bad. Good luck getting out of smog. Those were his parting words to me. I mean, I curled up in the fetal position I couldn't even get out of it. It was so devastating. But Babaji put me on a diet. He gave me a meditation. He walked me through it. Gurudev Singh was amazing. You know, I mean, these people were so good to me, but I was so traumatized and so heartbroken. I just wanted to get out of there. And so that's why I decided to go to this little ashram in Western, because it was like, it's familiar. It's new, but it's familiar. It's going to feel safe. It's going to be okay. And I'll just, you know, lick my wounds and recover. So that's what that was about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. It's amazing how Sangat is so important when we're at when we're in
Mm,
not so great stage of life.
yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for
And
sharing that.
and it was one of those things. I don't think his nervous. I mean, I honestly, truly believe he sincerely meant everything that he said. That he would have done it if he could, but I think he blew out his nervous system. I think he made the change too fast, and he was doing it for the wrong reason. He was doing it for me. I mean, he did such a good job. I mean, we all thought it was sincere, and because he changed so much.
Mm.
I mean, it was working for him, but something snapped. I mean, he literally just went from this to that overnight.
Well, I mean, I've been part of I've been part of this dharma since 2016, 2017, and the amount of people that I have seen come in, I'm taking Amrit, I'm doing it
Yeah,
sadhana every single day, and snap,
gone.
gone.
Yeah, so true.
And
So true.
the difference between what you went through and what I see here is I'm still friends with you on Facebook. I still I see that change of that individual with full beard or this, and then
And
all
all of
of
a
a
sudden,
sudden gone.
yeah,
Back to Steve, back to,
yeah,
which is fine.
exactly.
Do your thing, but it's just
Yeah,
yeah. The my point being is it's amazing how people jump with both feet so quickly, so deeply.
because we all want this. We all long for this. I mean, every single person wants what you can get from this practice and from this lifestyle, from this dharma.
So then, I guess my question is, before we get to Massachusetts and LA, my question to you is: given that you've lived that, you've been through it, seeing someone who you loved dearly at the time
Hmm.
gone, and obviously you've been in this dharma for decades, and you're right. We all need this. We need sadhana. We need yoga. We need that
We
sangat.
need the relationship, but yeah, with our own soul. I mean, that to me is the prime. And yes, Sangat and all these things, but ultimately it's about you
Yeah,
and you and God and you becoming one, which you already are, but you don't know it,
yeah.
And so, and we all have, we all had that experience before we came into this
Mhm.
and then we forget but we're still longing for it. So,
That's the emptiness when
yeah,
we're longing for it. So then
exactly.
I guess my question is, what do you think it is that makes people? Well, you've just answered the question of people going with 2 feet in, going deep into it, is because we're all longing for it. But what makes you think that people snap out of it? Number one, snap out of it, as opposed to just having that smooth transition back out. Why do you think, in your experience, the aggression of jumping into it, full the start, bana, kirpan on it, right through to that full 180 instant gone out? What do you think that is? Good question.
It is. It is a great question. I mean, as far as one can generalize, I mean,
Yes, of
everybody has
course.
we have our wounds, we have our karmas, we have our, our history. I think for so many of us in the West who've grown up without a real identity, we just were so lost. We don't know who we are. We're getting told so many different things by the outside world. The commercialism and this, everybody fills us full of lies, you know. And then all of a sudden you're given the truth and you're given something real and you're given tools to help you hold that, you know, and you just embrace it. You're just like, put my turban on. I feel like my brother used to say, if I don't wear my turban, my brains will fall out. It's like you feel so contained, collected. One point, I mean, the technology is real and it works. And if you give it a chance, you experience that. And that's what you want. And you want, you know, the uniform. Why does the uniform work at boarding school? There's just something about it that frees you from, I don't have to try to, oh, I'm going to try this style today or that style tomorrow because I'm this, but then when I'm feeling like this, I'm like that. And, no, this is who I am. This is
Well,
who I am.
Well, this is what I find, especially in today's society, is that everyone, not everyone, I'll take that back, but many people who live in spiritual communities, whether it's Costa Rica, whether it's Guatemala, Bali, India, they
Right.
travel to all these places, searching for spirituality, and then they dabble in a bit of Buddhism, and then, oh, I've heard about Jainism. I'll jump into that because that's something new,
Yeah,
or Hinduism, and Sikhi, and then they got Christianity has always been part of obviously American lifestyle.
sure.
So they take a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And
Yeah,
I'm a great believer that faith and religion has goalposts, and you have to stick within those
yeah.
goalposts. And if you take a particular faith, let's say Sikhi, for example, yes, you do wear the 5Ks. Yes, you are part of sadhana. If you're Muslim, you do the prayers. I mean, we've got prayers as well in the morning and in the evening, and these are the terms and conditions. And it just seems like it's watered down so much because we know so much about faith and religion. We just go onto YouTube and say, "Give me a." I mean, there's books saying Buddhism for dummies. Buddhism.
Exactly.
And so then picking a whole bunch of little bit of this, little bit of that, can become just as confusing as not knowing
Absolutely.
at all. And then you
100%.
having that gentleman Babaji saying, "Listen, these are your goalposts.
This
Stick
and
within
it
them."
works, and you need this,
Yeah,
and I see you need this. Yeah,
yeah. So
exactly.
so so so
I
then
agree.
going back. So you've said why people jump into it. Why do you think that people aggressively pop out of it as well? Because you feel that nectar. You touch that nectar. You go to sadhana. You see the sangat.
Mm,
You feel that contentment through Japji Sahib, through
mm,
Kirtan Swala, and
mm,
everything in
mm.
between. And all of a sudden, gone. Would you have any thoughts on that?
I certainly would, because it happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can only speak from my own experience, but, I had that experience. So I jumped, I did the Babaji, and I did it. I jumped in, the whole thing. And, and I moved to Los Angeles because Leverett wasn't enough for me. Because when I went to LA on a visit, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not getting what I need. They have a Gurdwara program every morning. Yogi Ji is teaching twice a week. This is the Sangat." We had this tiny little group of people, and they were a little bit more like, "Oh, we'll do a little of this, a little of that kind of thing." And I was longing for the real deal, the real thing. And just so LA provided that for me. It took me so that was 1987 that I decided to move there. By 1993, I was starting to feel alienated from the Sangat, from the Siri Singh Sab, from everything. Why? Well, you can use the old Shakti pod, those stages of stuff. Your ego starts confronting you, and you go, "Oh, I don't need to do that." Like, oh. So there's definitely that element that happens to everybody. That is a very real thing. I look at myself. I mean, you don't see the world as it is. You see it as you are. I'm looking at this whole scene through my wounds. Remember, I have huge abandonment issues, incredible father phobia, deep insecurity, self hatred, all this stuff. No, yes, yes, I did all this stuff, but those are some scars. I don't know how many of them, we come in with, but certainly some of them happen in this lifetime, or they just, we get more of what we need to bring it out, because we're all here
Mhm.
to heal and to grow and to become who we really are, to return to who we really are. And so all that stuff is in my face. I'm like, again, why does he travel with an entourage? Why does he treat these people so special? And he just looks right through me like I'm a nobody. Um, I don't like this. Like, why does everybody drive a white Mercedes? And why is it so important to wear 15 gems on your rings? I mean, all the stuff that I wanted so much all of a sudden became like, oh, this isn't me. What am I doing? And why would I want to like make myself different than everybody else? Like, I just want to all my life. I just wanted to blend in with everybody else. I never wanted to be, and I call myself by this name that nobody can pronounce. I wear I wear this garb that sets me apart. Like, this isn't who I am. What am I doing? It's the doubts come in, the insecurity gets played up. I'm like, why are there cliques? I feel like I'm in high school. Like, there's this clique and this clique. And it's like, oh, who are these people? These aren't my people. Like, why would I want to be part of an organization where they treat each other like this and people look down at you and they this and they that? And then they're doing all these scammy things too, make money because we have to make money because we have to get this dharma going. I mean, you name it, every single reason that people and I guess I started hearing stories, if you want to get into the allegations, I started hearing stories years before this, latest thing broke out. I had a very close Punjabi friend, told me all this stuff. I'm like, what am I doing here? This guy's a crook and he's a womanizer and he's this and he's that and these people are crazy. And I'm telling you, it's a razor's edge between
Falling off.
yes, being 100% with it and like 100% like, holy shit, get me out of here. That happened to me. And by then I was married, I'm doing the whole thing and I'm like, I want out. I don't want to do this anymore, And I married a saint because most men, because he was very much into it, and Siri Shiva thing, my dear beloved late husband, he did it the right way. Not that there's a right, but it took him years to put on a turban. He was one of the early guys in the 70s, 71. He used to go to the Golden Temple restaurant in Washington, D.C. when he worked at the Rand Corporation, started taking Kundalini yoga, fell in love with everything, but like, he was such a Catholic boy. He went to Catholic school and he went to mass in college I don't know if he went every day, but he went a lot in college. And that's who he was. He was supposed to be a priest, but so, he just had that strong, but he's like, I can't do this thing. But he finally did because he worked with it. And he did it gradually. And he finally it was just like, oh, this. So, he was so stable. But anyway, here I'm telling this man that I married that I want out. He doesn't leave me. He doesn't abandon me. He just listens and he stays with me. And we do this little dance. And I keep trying to pull him out and I get, you don't have to wear that thing anymore, come on, let's do this, let's play, kind of thing. Anyway, I spent 10 years like that.
Wow.
From 1993, it was starting to happen, but I would say 94 was the break. That's when I took my turban off and I cut my hair. I did everything. I went back to my old name. I mean, I wanted to get as far away from everything because it was starting to like be so painful. Like what had been so life-giving and so precious and so blissful became just a source of pain because all my old wounds were getting activated.
So would you say that was because of the outward, the world, the Sangat, Yogi Bhajan, or was it a fight within oneself?
It's all inside. There's nothing out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to blame it on that. See, that's what I did. Those people, that man, this way of life, this way of dressing, all that stuff. It's me, little me going, I never got my father's attention. He never gave me, he just cared about his work and his, all those old wounds. And God bless the Siri Singh Sab because he treated me exactly how I felt about myself. I always felt like a nobody, a nothing, a failure. I couldn't, I didn't live up to my father's expectations. I was mad at him all the time, but I didn't do, something else great. I just kind of muddled along through life and everything. Then I found this wonderful thing, but it started to unravel because I was still that wounded, hurt, disappointed, sad little girl inside. And I saw everybody through that lens. and then made everybody, those people are this, da, da, da. I want to, and the thing is, you can run away from your source of pain, but you can't really. You can buy yourself a little time. Like I remember thinking the best thing I ever did was put on a turban. But you know what? Really, the best thing I ever did was take it off, because then I really got myself back. And now I'm not under the influence of any of these things. I mean, I can just see what's going on in all these people's minds because I lived it.
Yeah.
I lived it. I know exactly what they're going through. And it's part of, it's tragic, but it's also, that's what life is, that's what life is. And this is such a perfect path because it brings you face to face with your own deepest, darkest, most excruciating pain. And if you can't look that pain in the face and say, I love you, you're part of me too, and together we're going to walk this path, and I'm going to integrate you into my consciousness, and we'll do this. If you can't do that, then you have to run away. There's no other choice, because otherwise you just feel like you're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the one thing that a lot of people who start going down a spiritual path, regardless of the spiritual path, is they think that life is going to become wonderful, well as life becomes tougher. Life becomes so much tougher. Someone said to me, they said, once you start diving into faith and religion, you have no choice but to dive into yourself, because you're in meditation, you are doing that. And then when you close your eyes, you are on your own.
Yeah.
Not so much, I guess, not on your own, but you become one with the infinite. And life, let me tell you something, life becomes bloody hard when you jump into the world of faith, especially Sikhi, I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God. I mean, on this side of it, all I can say is thank God. Because if you can't confront and embrace, your darkest fears, pain, you'll never be free.
Mm-hmm.
They will follow you along and be your shadow, and you'll make the same mistake over and over and over again with relationships, with every aspect of your life. This gives you a chance to break free and become free. But we're terrified of that. We're so terrified of that. And we love our pain, and we love our, it's our identity, it's our story, and we love to make everybody else wrong.
Well, it's amazing how the amount of people who have left Sikhi and Kundalini yoga within, it's amazing how they quickly jump on the bandwagon of another faith or religion. There's a wonderful gentleman, Siri Gopal, him. He said, what did he say? He says, listen, once you jump into something like this, you ain't getting out. You're in. Now, you might leave this, but you will jump straight into something else.
Exactly.
Because you will always look for it, and your deepest, darkest things that you need to face, like face to face in the mirror, it will follow you through any other faith, any other group of people.
It'll just recreate itself over and over and over again. That's why you have to keep running. So that's why you dabble in this and you dabble in that, because maybe I can find that place. Guess what? It ain't there. You're never going to find it. It's all in here.
And it's also fighting commitment. People do not like to commit anymore, whether it's relationships, whether it's faith, whether it's sangat, whether it's prayer. Yeah, I'm gonna dabble in this prayer. Forget sadhana. I'm gonna do this kind of prayer. I'm gonna do it's I'm gonna do it any other way but the way you told me.
Exactly. Yeah, because it does become about taking out the garbage. Yogi Ji said, oh, you people think meditation is bliss, and you're just going to do. It's taking out the garbage every day. Nobody wants to take the garbage out every day.
Stinks. Absolutely stinks.
Exactly.
and the hardest thing to know is that stink is me. I stink. And you know what? It's so hard to say, it's so much easier to say my parents stink, my siblings stink, my kids, it's my kids' fault, it's the Sanghat's fault, it's everyone's fault. I'm not the one who stinks here.
I'm the
Everyone else does.
victim.
Yeah. And now that we live in this world of social media, I can go on, and if you want to use the stink analogy, I can go onto social media and tell everybody that everybody stinks around me, and it's not me, it's them, and everyone will go, "Oh yes,
I
oh,
know. How
oh
can I
yeah,
support you?
yeah, you tell your truth, yeah,
Yeah,
congratulations,
exactly.
you be strong," and then I get, then
Yep,
I get, "Oh, thank you, everybody, thank you," and it's this
exactly.
attention, and it's all fucking bullshit until we go into that quiet place. But there's a particular yogi that I follow, and he said the darkest place is under a lit lamp. That's the darkest
Mm,
place, is
wow,
under a lit
that's
lamp.
powerful. Yeah, yep,
Back to Yogi Ji.
yep.
But back to Siri Singh Sabji. So I would love to touch onto these. How was your obviously you got married to a saintly gentleman who recently passed away, so and you know you wanted to get out of you wanted to get out of the dharma. You know, he was graceful, all of those things. It took 10 years of your relationship going through the ups and downs and the lefts and the rights, and here you are 10 years later. What after going through those fights within yourself, um, what was the transition? Because this is extremely interesting for so many people out there who have left the Sikh Dharma, Punjabi or otherwise, who do feel that nostalgia of wanting to go back to their local Gurdwara, or going back to solstice, or going back to see their friends who have, you know, who now they've departed from one another. What was that transition like from going absolutely not, you're seeing your husband who's still part of the Dharma, no, 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 to seeing the light again?
Well, it was a process of devolution. I was looking for so just like everyone who leaves wants to find another place. So I tried this, I tried that. This worked for a little while, that worked for a little while. Nothing, grabbed me the way this path grabbed me when I first stepped on it. Nothing, but I was so angry. And I wasn't even, I mean, I think the anger really dissipated. I was just back to being alienated and everything else, and but definitely feeling like, um, I no, you know what it was? Because underneath anger is always hurt.
Hmm.
It's always hurt. So I was hurt that I didn't get what I wanted from the Serious Thing Sob. I wanted a father figure. I wanted him to give me lots of attention. Like I felt saw him giving everyone else. People would say, "You should be you should be so grateful that he doesn't do that." He keeps the most neurotic people near him. He gives them all the attention because they need it. If he doesn't do that for you, you don't need it. But that didn't work for me. I was just like, "No, I need it. I need it. And he's not giving it to me. Why? Why?" And he said some really insulting, well, I consider them insulting things and rude things to me, like, just but mainly, he dismissed me. He just dismissed me, like, "Get out of my way. You're just, like, not even worth my." That's why did I take it that way? Because that's how I felt about myself. He was just holding up the mirror, which is what he always did. Took me 10 years to realize that. So in that process of devolution, and we had a baby, and I would have been so nice if I'd been part of, I missed that early mothering with all the mothers of the Dharma and all those ladies campings, because I was not doing that. So anyway, I got to the point where I was just a wreck. I started crying all the time. I was falling apart. I was just like, again, I was in that crisis mode of, you know, I'm falling apart. I need something in my life. I don't know what it is. I don't know where to go. And it got to the point where I was waking up at 3 o'clock every morning. And finally, it was like, okay, I can't sleep. I just lie here and I cry and I'm miserable. Why don't I just start doing sadhana again? Took me 10 years. I mean, I wouldn't have thought if it had happened any time before that 10-year mark, I don't think I would have done it. You know, you have to get to a certain point. I always just feel like it's all God's play. You know, I was just getting pulled back. You know, it's again when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and again, you know, the same teacher. You know, lo and behold, it's the same teacher. But I had to go through whatever I had to go through in those 10 years. I had to completely devolve to this like mess. I was just a wreck, you know, but that's when I could be opened, cracked open again. I just had to like get to the point of surrender. So that's really what happened. And it really wasn't long after going back to sadhana and just rekindling that, you know, nothing worked for me like sadhana worked for me. Nothing worked for me like sitting on the floor in Gurdwara, you know, singing, chanting, hearing Gurbani Kirtan, hearing nothing. I tried this, I tried that. Nothing touched my soul the way that did. And when I finally surrendered to that and just started coming back, you know, it was just this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful process. Then finally it was like, and so Dave Amrit he was already 8 years old. You know, it was 2004. And all of a sudden it's like, we got to go to solstice. You know, that was my first, you know, back into the Texas days when I was falling apart and Catholicism wasn't working for me and I was longing, do sadhana and then, you know, go to solstice. Now it was, I did sadhana. Now we got to go to solstice. So we go back to solstice. I take him. We stay for the whole, you know, obviously we stay for the whole solstice. We stay for the whole of children's camp. All of a sudden, I mean, my brother used to tell me we would once in a blue moon because Sir Shiva still wanted to go. And so once in a while, I would go with him to the Gurdwara. And my brother was living in LA at that time. And he said, you wouldn't believe what happens to your son's aura when you walk in through that door in Guru Ramdas Ashram. He said, he lights up like a freaking firecracker. You know, it's just like he was telling me all this stuff. And I was like not listening until I was, you know. And he had the best summer and I was a guide at children's camp and just but I kept saying to I have to go back to my tantric experience where everything got healed.
Okay.
It actually that's why I stayed for children's camp because I had this amazing and I wasn't one of these people that had dreams of the Siri Singh sub or any of this, you know, really my relationship just felt so remote. And I'm sitting in the tantric line and all of a sudden I'm not in the line, I'm in this space. I don't know where I am, but Guru Nanak is there. John Lennon is there. I'm telling you, it was like this wild, like all these people. And the Siri Singh Sahib is there. And he looks at me with such love and such compassion, just right at me. Sees, like the first time I feel like he actually saw me. Like he just dismissed me, looked right through me. All of a sudden, he's looking right at me. He goes, you think you left? You never left. I've been here the whole time waiting for you to come back. And I remember just like sitting, I could barely finish the exercise. I was just like in this, like, you know, it was like in that instant, everything got healed. And I remember jumping, as soon as the exercise was over, jumping up and running out to the field and just like crying and crying and crying, you know, just like, oh my God, what just happened, you know, kind of thing. So that was the moment when everything shifted. And then I stayed for children's camp. But I remember I was still wearing a scarf. And I said to myself, I will never put a turban on until I know I won't take it off again. This is 2004, Yogiji is dying. He's dying. And we go down. The children always do a performance for him. You know, he used to come up and see the camp and see the performance. But of course, he was too sick to come up. So we go down to the ranch and he's too sick to get out of his bed. This is the summer of 2004. He dies in October of 2004. So BBG, of course, is there. And we do this little performance. But this is what we were doing. But before we go down. One of the camp counselors, one of the guides that's working with me, he turns to me, goes, because he was watching these changes and seeing what was going on with me. He goes, just like Babaji, the same thing, the right person at the right time says the right thing. He says, you're not going to go see your teacher without a turban, are you? And I just looked at him and I said, no, I'm not. And somebody gave me a turban. I hadn't tied one in 10 years. I put it on like it was yesterday. Tied this turban on. I'm like, oh my God, I'm wearing a turban. Go down. We do this whole thing, Siri Singh's lying in his sick bed. We do this whole thing. I never took it off since then. So, these are like miracles. These are miracles. And my position is, and was then and will always be, if I can heal, anybody can heal. Don't tell me that you were abused by your father and this did, and this and that. You can heal. Anybody can heal. We all were abused, whether, it was sexual or physical or mental or emotional. We were all abused and we're all wounded, and we can heal. And I'm living proof of that. And anyone can, and it's only the grace of God. It's only the grace of the Guru. I mean, people say, what brought you back? The Guru brought me back. It's just, but it was that longing. And I feel like that's always, you long and,
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, it certainly is a journey. And, I'm 44 today. Well, not today, but 44 this year. And
when?
January.
And
the ups and downs in my life as well. People say to me, this happened to me as a kid, and that happened to me as a kid, and this stuff happened to me as a kid. I've come to the conclusion where that the Hollywood 2.4 children, oh my God, daddy, mommy, and all this stuff, it's all nonsense.
Nothing but the lies that we've been told.
Yes, this is what families should be, whilst we're getting our asses kicked by our parents or uncles and aunties and friends and people older than us and school and bullying and stuff. And I've just come up with, I speak to my boys and they say this happened, and I go, so what? It's all called so what? So what? This happened. I got beaten up as a kid. So what? I got touched up as a so what? Everything. So what? If anything, it's called, that's the normality.
Yeah, exactly.
That Hollywood 2.4 kids, and the beautiful Christmas tree as you walk up that's abnormal. If any of you guys out there have had that life,
yeah,
that's an abnormal life.
Exactly. Exactly.
I want to touch on. So you obviously your not so young lad is what, in his 20s now?
My young lad.
Yeah,
he's 29.
No, I remember in San Diego. It just feels like only yesterday that we were hanging out because he was living in San Diego for a number of years, and I swear I thought he was like 18, 19 at the time, but he must have been in his early 20s.
He was in his early 20s. Yeah, he was going to grad school, I think, at that point.
Right.
When you knew him.
Yeah. So obviously he went to MPA.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Mirupidi Academy in Amritsar. He's lived the dharmic life, and you've seen so many kids go. You've seen to MPA. You've seen so many kids be part of the Dharma growing up. And you have also seen many second generation individuals and groups of people leave the Dharmas since 2020 to date, 2025. Given the conversation that we've had, everything is a mirror of our own selves. What is your thought process, if I may ask? What's your thought process on these quote unquote allegations? Because that's what they are. Allegations doesn't mean it's true. Mm-hmm. Allegations mean that it's an allegation. And these civil cases, not criminal cases, civil cases. And, how this because obviously a lot of this has happened online, on Facebook, and so on and so forth. What is your thoughts on what have taken place? I'm guessing that you knew the person who wrote the book originally, that Pamela
And I
does.
read it.
Yeah, and I'd just love to open up the forum to see what your thoughts are on that. Bit of a huge question there. My apologies.
But I might be able to answer it with one of your answers. So what?
Isn't that a fact? It is true. So what?
So what? I know what I experienced. I know my brutally hard, at least for me, journey. I know what it's like to run away from this and leave everything and hate him. And like I said, I was filled with these stories years before, and I believed them all. I think it's possible to hold two seemingly, because it's all an illusion, everything on this side of the veil is contradictory things at the same time and not have one negate the other. I will always stand by my experience because I lived it. It was ground into me. I was rescued. That's such a Piscean term. I was I would say redeemed. That's very Christian. Okay, what's the right word? Literally, I was put back together again. Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
You were put back together.
I was, and I love this man. I don't care what the hell he did. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't care if people say they were hurt. I do care, but I also believe that everything, no matter what it is by the hand of God. It's the grace of God. We're taught to look at good and bad the same. That's what the yogi does, can look at the pair of opposites and see them as the same thing. This is the ultimate test. I know my experience. I will die for my experience because it completely saved me. I guess that's bad words, but anyway, I really, I don't care what he did. I know who he is. I know who he is. I couldn't have the experience that I have had and seen so many other people who've had these miraculous things without this man holding so much light and so much love. And it was such a true seek. And that's all he wanted for us. I don't know what this other stuff is. I really don't. I want everyone to heal. Everyone can heal. And I think it's what you're saying, this story that we tell ourselves, and then it becomes our identity, and then we want all this attention, whatever that phenomenon is. God bless them. We all have to go through what we have to go through. I didn't want to go through what I had to go through, but I did. But there, it's such a journey, and there's lots of pain on it, and there's lots of healing on it, and I want everyone to heal. But I think if you think you're going to blame it on this and run away from this, I'm telling you, because I tried, can't do it.
Well, I always say nostalgia is a big thing. Nostalgia is real, and there are so many people who have. Okay, so expanding from 3HO and non-Punjabi Sikhs, I think is very fair and very easy to say that Sikhi has had its peaks and its troughs, but it's just like the stock market; it's always on an upward trajectory. I believe that, and you've had first-hand experience of this, and I'd love to know your opinion. My understanding up until this point, when 3HO first started in America in the late 1970s officially, that it had its upward trajectory, and it had its peaks, and it had its troughs, and it kept going up and then dropped down, and then kept continuing to go up and go down, and this is the plight of Sikhi. I think this is the plight of most religions. I can't speak for other religions, but for Sikhi and me understanding the history, we've always been on an upward trajectory. We're going to go through our peaks and our troughs, just like the stock market. It's always going up, however. And I believe being on the inside of 3HO now, that trough took place probably a year or two ago, and we are back on the upward trajectory.
Yes. I agree 100%. And I think it serves a huge purpose. I mean, it's kind of part of the whole cleansing, purification process. And it wouldn't be happening. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't supposed to happen. It's a gift, like everything else is a gift. It's how we use it, how we grow from it, how we learn from it, how we evolve from it. It's a tremendous gift. And I love all these kids. I really do. I love my son. He said to me at one point when he was Mr. MPA, he loved being at MPA when he did, and he hated it when he didn't love it. He hated it. He didn't want to go back. And then he went back and faced a lot of those fears and stuff. And he said to me when he was 12 years old, after his first year, he had a hellish first year, like probably 99.9% of kids did.
In any school.
In any school, exactly. And especially a boarding school, 14,000 miles away from home, with all the discipline and all that stuff. And he came home and he was just he wouldn't even talk. I mean, he was so shut down. He was traumatized. He was this, he was that. I finally got him to communicate by writing it down. Just write what happened, and he wrote me this long, devastating, but how he cried all the way from LAX to India, and he got there and nothing was what he thought it would be, and how he thought he was going to become one of those cool MPA kids, and instead he was just felt like this, misfit and this misunderstood and this da-da-da-da-da-da, and then he started doing bad things because, he was motivated to try to do something to break out of it, and then he got in trouble, but it was so unlike him to go down that route, but he was desperate, and he was just, and I just like, I was like, a mother's worst nightmare. How could I have done this to my kid? How could I have let this happen to him? This is devastating. This is awful. And I said to him that first summer, you don't have to go back. If you don't want to go back, you don't have to go back. And he said, I'll let you know at the end of the summer. Thank you, for giving me that. I'll let you know at the end of the summer. My 12-year-old son comes to me at the end of the summer and says, I'm going back because I know what I need to do to have a different experience. And I thought to myself, no matter what's wrong with MPA, if my 12-year-old son can understand that he is responsible for his own experience, he's got everything. He's got more than most adults have. The bad education, the this, the that, none of that matters. He got the gold. He got what, to make his life different. And I feel like that was the defining. He doesn't even remember saying that to me. I'll say that. He was like, Mom, I said that. There's no reason. Yes, you said that because I couldn't have sent you back after all those things you told me about how awful it was. But when when I heard that out of I just go and have a different experience. And bad things kept happening, of course, and we did bring him home for 2 years, but on the advice of the principal, who said, I think he needs a reset. Take him home. He couldn't wait to get back. The first year he wanted, and my husband, very pragmatic, and you need a few, what are those courses called? AP courses. You don't want to get into a good college, all that stuff. So we were reluctant, but then he got the MVP, award in the basketball team. He really, he triumphed. And I thought to myself, my kid's getting what I didn't get. The muscle to get to, the culture shock, it's real.
It is.
You get dumped into a huge urban high school in Los Angeles after being in MPA, which is so different.
Yes.
And somehow you survive and you do so well and everything. And then he just couldn't wait to get back. He had the best 2 years. when he went back. He became a squad leader. He became, he got the Serious Thing Sub Award, whatever that scholarship thing is. I mean, what Jagat Guru said about it, he said, there's Dave Armour in the front of every yoga class, sweating his guts out, never putting his legs down, never, he never giving an inch. He just, and it was like he reached deep into, he went through hell. I mean, that's what it takes. Go through hell and reach deep into yourself and pull out those resources that you wouldn't know you had unless you were confronted with, and then excel, and he did, and he loved it. And he said to me, Mom, Mitty Pitty made me who I am, and he went on to have a successful college, career and all this stuff. And now, cut his hair, went back, we gave him a different, because, we weren't doing the whole Sikhi lifestyle when he was born. So he has a different name. He went back to that name, cut his hair.
I can tell you, I mean, there is, when I was growing up, I despised my parents. By the time I got to a late teenager, and it's like what we said at the start of this conversation. Please always remember, I have never brought up. Your son's 28 now.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been. I don't know how to bring up a 29-year-old. I just don't know. And it's amazing when you have your own kids and you realize what your parents went through now that you're bringing up your children.
Exactly.
It's huge.
And my mother used to say that, just you wait.
Just you wait. Yes. I think every parent.
Wait for me to finally go, Mom, you were right.
Yeah. They say, but even to this day, my mom goes, see, I told you, see.
Yes, Mom, you were right.
Yeah, it'll happen. I mean, just like you said, Guru's grace, life takes us here, there, and everywhere. I can't speak for women, of course, because I'm not one. But when it comes to men, I genuinely believe every young man needs to touch their feet in hell.
Yeah.
You need to go to hell.
Exactly.
I was speaking to the young lads only yesterday, like the young lads who are going back to MPA.
Yeah.
I said, you guys are 16 years old, and have you ever been punched in the face? And they go, no. I go, every young lad needs to be smacked in the face. Exactly. You just need, and in this situation, of course, in a controlled environment, you don't want to go out into the middle of God knows where, into a bar or a club and get, smacked out. But I think it's desperately needed that young men need to get into a boxing ring, need to get into UFC cage, and in a controlled environment, get sparred, to go into sparring or something. Because I tell you, the most painful times for me was when I got kicked the crap out of, but that was the best. Yeah. It's the best deal for me. Yeah. I can only speak for boys. I mean, of course.
No, but that's so true. And girls go through it in a different way. Yes. But I feel like those are scenes in movies where, the teacher and the kid are having this. It's like, let's get the gloves on. Let's go to the gym and duke it out, and that's like that's the defining moment.
Yeah,
it is.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share before we close up?
Just that this has been so fun. Thank you so much for this journey through my life. Wow, what a gift! And all I can say is just all I have is gratitude. All I have is gratitude for all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And, I wouldn't be where I am today without it's all fertilizer. It's all rich, the stuff of life so that we can truly experience who we are. And it's such a beautiful journey. And I pray that we all find our way home, because this is home right here, but we're so blessed to have all these beautiful practices and rituals and tools and everything that we have that helps us to get here and supports us being here. And that's worth everything. So my infinite, everlasting, undying, love for the Serious Thing Sub who brought this technology. But my relationship is with the Siddhi Guru, on site with the Guru. I'm so grateful for my name, because I feel like that's truly how I want to live my life, how I strive to live my life. And
Mhm.
that's the blessing in my life. And so, nothing but gratitude and love, and pray we all find our way home.
I think that you touch on a really good point there with regards to the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. It's my understanding that Yogi Bhajan always said, follow the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, go to Sri Guru Granth Sahib,
Yes.
go to the Gurdwara. You'd want to follow the Gurus, see what the Gurus' stories are.
Okay.
And it's amazing how many people that it's shocking to me from an outsider coming in only recently, seeing how many people were born and raised into this dharma or came into this dharma, for many, many years, and their buck stopped with Yogi Bhajan Siri Singh Sahib. And the Guru Granth Sahib was tossed out just like that. It's kind of weird to me, because it was always, and you tell me otherwise if it's true, it's always told to me that he always said, follow the Gurus, follow the Gurus, follow the
He
Gurus.
did. And you can hear it in his lectures over and over and over again. He's telling us what it means to be a Sikh, and that's where we lay our head down, we give it all and he was constantly quoting Gurbani to us. He was constantly telling us he wanted us to read Macauliffe so you can learn about your history, read about the Gurus. I mean, it's just, and again, Guru's grace, but I feel like those of us that fell in love. I mean, I go back to my first experience of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib was in Spanish. When Babaji finished the first volume of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib translated, we had a little mini reading, and I got the midnight or whatever in the middle of the night. I can still see myself sitting in that Gurdwara, little tiny, reading in Spanish that I didn't know very well at that time, but Spanish is a language of the heart. And Babaji was a master of the translation. He did such a beautiful job. And I remember just reading it and the tears just streaming down my face and going, I don't even know what I'm reading, but it's just like ripping my heart open, And I fell in love with the Guru at that moment, and it took me years to learn Gurmukhi. I mean, I remember Shakti Para would say over and over again, if you only do one thing, learn Gurmukhi. If you don't learn Gurmukhi, to read it, to recite it, to, have it be part of your daily, practice, then you're really missing so much. You're missing so much. And and I was resistant. And you just, thank God. Thank God, because that changed my life too, and I just, I love the Guru. And I know there's many of us that do. Many, many, many of us that do. And I'm also surprised by the people that still kind of, because I always felt like, not me, this, that he said, don't love me, love the teachings. But he was also saying, not me, I'm not the Guru. I am not a Guru. I'm a teacher showing you the way to where you're going to find your truth. This is the truth right here. And he was always pointing us. And those of us that did, I feel like we'll never leave. I mean, we're here. And so I just hope, because it's such a technology. The Sri Guru Granth Sahib is a complete technology in and of itself, and it will take you to that place.
I also want to quickly mention you talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I want to make it very clear: the good, the bad, and the ugly is in every single life that has come to planet Earth since day one. And so don't think for a second that because you went to MPA, because you were part of this dharma, because of your Sikhi, or so on and so forth, it's don't give yourself the privilege of thinking that it's only for you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is for every single individual ever, forever, whenever that individual is on this planet Earth. The good, the bad, and the ugly will always be part of every single life, including those who've never, ever, ever heard of Sikhi or anything in between. That's part of life, and that's the beauty of life.
It is the beauty of life. Agree 100%. And there is a movie called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yes,
and I never saw that movie. Did you ever see it?
I've never seen it.
Let's watch it sometime.
We
But
should.
somebody told me that there's this incredible scene in it where it's a close up of a fly sitting either on someone's nose or some, and it's just like it just zooms in on, it's kind of like this metaphor for, there's flies on everybody, there's flies that just because it became this huge thing because of the way the camera zoomed in on it. Um, that kind of is like a metaphor for
Yeah.
that whole thing, and I wanna see the movie just to see that scene, or maybe he lied and made the whole thing up, maybe it's not in the movie, but anyway, it's a great, I love that, yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's just
Yeah.
that really sums it up.
Fantastic. I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for sharing your personal stories. It takes a lot of courage. I hate to say it because a lot of people go, "Oh my God, I'm so hurt." It takes a lot of courage. You do you, and it's not that. I genuinely mean it. I've asked every single individual, or not asked, but kind of coaxed people to go into their personal lives because I think it's extremely important for the world to see, your genuine story going into the dharma, the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Yeah.
the strength that one needs, and the weak, the times when one feels weak. There's a lot of wisdom within our first generation of 3HO non-Punjabi community, and you are part of that. And what you've shared today, please know that there are many people out there who will listen to this and they will be so thankful to hear your story for years to come. And I want to take that opportunity, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for sharing your life story into this Dharma.
Oh, such a blessing. Thank you so much, and I stand by what I said. If I can heal, anyone can. So, hey,
Satnam.
that's what it's all about.
Um, Over and out. Thank you so much.
Satnam. Thank
Waheguru Ji Ka
you.
Khalsa.
Wai Khalsa, Wai
Waheguru Ji Ki
Fateh.
Fateh.